The war against complexity. We are drowning in a sea of more. More notifications, more possessions, more status, and more complicated solutions to simple problems. We've been told that wisdom is a mountain of books and a life of complexity. But what if the highest truth is actually found in the dirt? Enter Ikkyu Sojun, the crazy cloud monk of 15th century Japan. He was a prince who chose the life of a beggar, a monk who walked through cities carrying a wooden sword to show that most wisdom is fake, and a man who proved that until you simplify your soul, you will never be free. Today, we look at the life of the most rebellious Zen master in history to discover why simplicity isn't just a lifestyle, it's the only way to survive the chaos of 2026. The 3 lessons of the rebel monk. Why? The broken bowl, the simplicity of radical honesty. In the quiet, austere world of a 15th century Zen temple, objects were not just things. Hoped for heirlooms were symbols of lineage and discipline. Ikkyu's master owned such a treasure, an ancient delicate tea bowl that was whispered to be hundreds of years old. To the master, this bowl was a physical manifestation of Zen perfection. To young Ikkyu, it was a target for a lesson. One afternoon, while cleaning the master's quarters, the unthinkable happened. A slip of the hand, a moment of distraction, and the bowl met the stone floor. The sound was a sharp crystalline crack that echoed like a gunshot in the silent room. Ikkyu stood over the shards, his heart hammering. In that moment, most acolytes would have spiraled into a second arrow of suffering. They would have concocted a complex lie, blamed a stray cat, or hidden the pieces in the garden. They would have spent hours rehearsing a performance of fake sorrow to avoid the first arrow of the master's anger. But Ikkyu was different. He gathered the broken pieces into his robe and waited. When the master returned, Ikkyu didn't apologize immediately. Instead, he asked a deceptively simple question. "Master, why must things die?" The master, pleased by what he thought was a philosophical inquiry, replied, "It is the way of the universe, Ikkyu. Everything is impermanent. When its time is up, it simply ceases to be. It is natural." Ikkyu then opened his robe, revealed the shards, and said calmly, "It was time for your bowl to die." The wisdom for today. We complicate our lives with social friction. We lie to our bosses when we miss a deadline. We make excuses to our partners when we forget an anniversary. And we create narratives to protect our egos. We think complexity protects us, but it actually creates a prison of anxiety. Ikkyu shows us that the highest wisdom is radical honesty. When you stop trying to spin reality, you stop wasting energy. The truth is simple because it requires no maintenance. 2. Feeding the robe. Substance. Over the social script, Kyoto was a city of rigid hierarchy. Your clothes didn't just cover your body. They announced your bank account, your lineage, and your worthiness of respect. Ikkyu, despite being the son of an emperor, despised these labels. He preferred the company of beggars and street poets, often appearing in tattered, mud-stained rags that smelled of the road. A wealthy nobleman, wanting to appear spiritual, invited the famous Master Ikkyu to a lavish banquet. Ikkyu arrived at the gates exactly as he was, hair unkempt, wearing a robe that had more holes than fabric. The guards, seeing a worthless vagabond, didn't even let him speak. They mocked him, shoved him, and kicked him back into the street. Ikkyu didn't argue. He went to a nearby friend, borrowed a magnificent shimmering purple silk robe, the kind worn only by the highest-ranking prelates, and returned. This time, the guards bowed so low their foreheads touched the dirt. The nobleman himself escorted Ikkyu to the head of the table, placing the finest delicacies before him. Then came the performance. Ikkyu didn't pick up his chopsticks. Instead, he took a bowl of expensive miso soup and began pouring it slowly over his silk sleeves. He took pieces of grilled fish and tucked them into the folds of his expensive sash. "What madness is this?" the nobleman gasped. Ikkyu looked at him with a piercing cold clarity. "The food is for the robe," he said. "You didn't invite me. I was here an hour ago in my rags, and you kicked me away. But this silk you adore. Since the silk is your guest, the silk should be the one to eat." The wisdom for today. In 2026, we are all feeding our robes. Our robes are our Instagram aesthetics, our LinkedIn titles, and the logos on our gym gear. We have complicated our identities so much that we forget the human underneath. We spend thousands of dollars and hours of mental health trying to convince the world we are important, while our true selves starve for genuine connection. Ikkyu challenges us to ask, if I took away your robe today, your job, your car, your status, who is left? If you can't find peace in the rags of your true self, you will never find it in the silk of your ego. 3. The wooden sword, the simplicity of utility. During a period of great civil unrest and religious hypocrisy, Ikkyu became famous for a bizarre habit. He walked through the crowded markets of Kyoto carrying a magnificent katana. The scabbard was lacquered in brilliant gold and wrapped in fine shark skin. It was the weapon of a high-ranking shogun. People cleared the path in awe, admiring the warrior monk and his deadly wisdom. One day, a curious official stopped him. "Master, a monk carrying a sword of such power? It must be a legendary blade. May I see it?" With a mischievous grin, Ikkyu drew the sword. The crowd gasped, but not in awe. The blade was nothing but a crude piece of wood, carved into the shape of a sword and painted. It couldn't cut a piece of silk, let alone a man. "This sword," Ikkyu announced to the laughing crowd, "is exactly like the teachings of the modern church and the advice of experts. It looks impressive in the scabbard. It makes the owner feel important. But when the battle of life actually begins, when you are faced with real grief, real fear, or real hunger, it is useless. It cannot cut through anything." The wisdom for today. We are obsessed with performative wisdom. We buy the self-help books, we listen to the podcasts, and we memorize the 10 steps to happiness. But when a real crisis hits, a breakup, a health scare, a financial loss, all that complex theory fails us. Simplicity is utility. If your Zen doesn't help you stay calm when your flight is canceled, it's a wooden sword. Ikkyu teaches us to strip away the lacquered scabbards of our lives. Don't look for wisdom that looks good. Look for wisdom that works. The conclusion, the 5 pillars of simplicity. How do we embody Ikkyu's crazy cloud wisdom in a world of 24/7 noise? We simplify. Stop post-processing reality. Like the broken bowl, accept what is immediately. Don't waste energy on the why me or the how do I hide this. Accept, adapt, and move. Audit your robes. Take a day to be unimportant. Go somewhere where no one knows your title or your bank account. See if you can still be happy. The utility test. Look at your habits. If a ritual, a possession, or a belief doesn't actively make your life lighter or clearer, it is a wooden sword. Let it go. Embrace just this. Ikkyu found the divine in a bowl of rice and the wind in the trees. You don't need a 5-star retreat to find peace. You just need to be fully present for the cup of coffee in your hand. Humanity over holiness. Never try to be a saint. Ikkyu's power came from his willingness to be messy, honest, and human. The simplest version of you is the most powerful version.